Can I please sit?
Get out of my face, ape! My bag is worth more than you and that baby.
The bus was overflowing, every seat filled, bodies pressed close. The engine droned loudly, the air thick and uncomfortable. At the next stop, a black woman, visibly pregnant, stepped on board. One hand cradled her belly, the other clung tightly to the rail. Exhaustion showed clearly on her face, the kind that comes from carrying more than just weight, but the heavy responsibility of a new life. She scanned the bus, hoping someone would notice. No one did. A few passengers glanced up, saw her, then quickly looked away, suddenly fascinated by their phones. The bus lurched forward without warning. She nearly lost her balance. Near the middle sat a Caucasian man sprawled across two seats. He occupied one, while his expensive leather bag sat comfortably on the other. He leaned back, scrolling through his phone, completely at ease. The woman looked at him, her eyes a quiet plea. He glanced up, smirked at her, then looked back down. "I paid for both seats," he said, his voice dripping with arrogance. "My bag stays." If this moment already has you feeling uneasy, stay with us, and don't forget to like and subscribe. The bus fell into an awkward hush. The man with the bag didn't move an inch, relaxed, unbothered, as if the woman's struggle was invisible to him. In a seat near the back sat a young black boy named Malik. His clothes were worn and his school bag was faded and patched, but his eyes were observant and full of empathy. He had watched the woman sway. He had seen the turned heads. Without hesitation, Malik stood up. "You can take my seat, ma'am," he said quietly. He was young, but his voice was steady. The woman froze, surprised. Then a wave of relief washed over her face. "Thank you. Thank you so much, young man," she whispered, carefully lowering herself into the seat. Malik moved to the back, gripping the overhead rail as the bus rocked again. Around him, the other adults avoided eye contact, shame written plainly on their faces. If moments like this make you think, hit that like button and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The man in the middle watched Malik retreat to the back. A crooked smile spread across his face. "Of course," he said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "That's what they're good at, always ready to serve." The words hung heavy and poisonous in the air, a blatant display of prejudice. A few passengers stiffened, but no one challenged him. Malik stood still, his hands wrapped around the rail. He didn't respond. He didn't look back. He simply stood there, steady despite the shaking bus. The man leaned back further, spreading himself out. "I paid for this seat," he announced again, as though his money excused his cruelty. As the vehicle slowed near a large office complex, the pregnant woman pulled the cord. She stood carefully and turned toward Malik with one last grateful smile. "Thank you," she said softly. As she stepped off, the man in the middle let out a mocking laugh, unaware that he was laughing at his own downfall. The bus came to a stop. The woman stepped down carefully. Standing at the stop was a man in a sharp, tailored suit. The moment he saw her, concern rushed across his face. He hurried forward, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "Are you all right? You look exhausted," he asked. She sighed, glancing back at the bus. "I'm fine now. A kind young boy named Malik gave me his seat, though not everyone was so helpful." The well-dressed man lifted his gaze and looked straight into the bus. His eyes locked onto the arrogant passenger. His expression hardened instantly, cold and authoritative. The color drained from the passenger's face. He recognized that look. That wasn't just a stranger. That was the CEO of his company. And the pregnant woman he had just insulted was the CEO's wife. The next morning, the man walked into the office, his hands shaking. He was summoned immediately. When he entered the corner office, the CEO was standing by the window. His wife sat in a chair nearby, calm and composed. "Sit," the CEO said, his voice like ice. The man stumbled over his words. "Sir, I didn't know. I can explain." "You told my wife that money bought you the right to be cruel," the CEO interrupted. "And your comments about that boy showed me exactly who you are. In this company, we value character over capital. Today, your money can't even buy you this job." He slid a termination letter across the desk. "Kindness costs nothing, but your arrogance just cost you everything." As the man left the office, humiliated, his future shattered, the CEO turned to his wife. "We need to find that boy," he said. A few days later, Malik was invited to the office. Nervous but polite, he stood before them. "Malik," the CEO said warmly, "you reminded us what really matters. Because you stood up when others sat down, we want to make sure your future is secure. He handed Malik a document, a full scholarship to the best school in the city, and a promise of a position at the company once he finished his studies. Malik was speechless, his eyes filling with tears. He had only done what he thought was right. The story closes with Malik walking home, his head held high. He didn't know he was going to be rewarded. He just knew that someone needed a seat. Always choose kindness. It is the only investment that never fails. From the other side of silence, Toss Stories, where real voices rise and truth finds its echo. Like, subscribe, and share, because your character is who you are when you think no one is looking.